What's missing in today's generation? Welcome back to another episode of Common Ground Conversation. I'm your host once again, Todd. This is where I tell you how it is, right down the middle. We just have a conversation where both sides are afraid to have nowadays. I have it here, so let's dive right into it and talk about it. Are we raising stronger kids or just protecting them more? Every generation believes that the next generation has it easier than the generation in the past. Our parents said it to us, their parents have said it to them, and so on and so forth. And now Americans are saying it about today's kids. But before we dismiss those concerns as another version of back in the day, it's worth asking a serious question. Are we helping young people become stronger, or are we protecting them from the very experiences that build strength? So that's a very serious question. So you need to ask yourself this. And I'm going to be asking a few other questions along the way that are going to be some serious questions we need to really ask ourselves, and things that we need to kind of shift from what we're doing to our kids nowadays. And this is where, as an American, or as Americans seem to have lost what America was built on, our kids have zero respect for their elders. They could care less. If you look on any of the platforms nowadays, they're out there fighting and complaining and doing all sorts of protesting, and most of them have no clue what they're protesting. So, okay, maybe I should rephrase that just a little bit. Most kids. I mean, have you seen the kids on TikTok and other social media platforms? The value of struggle. Let's talk about that. Nobody enjoys hardship. I'll be the first one to tell you. I've had it tough off and on. I'm not saying I've had it the worst. I know there's people that's had it worse than myself. Nobody wakes up hoping for failure, disappointment, or adversity. Nobody wishes their neighbor harm. Yet, some of life's most important lessons have come from those exact experiences. Character is often built during difficult moments. You, and your kids get stronger because of failure. Confidence comes from overcoming challenges. Resilience comes from getting knocked down and getting back up. We all have been knocked down. The deal is, are you able to get back up? The problem that I have, or that I've seen, is that many kids can't handle getting knocked down. Because they get knocked down, they stay down until somebody reaches out there to pick them back up, because they're not able to get up themselves. You have to be able to know how to do that. Nobody says you can't get that helping hand once in a while, but sometimes you have to be able to get up on your own. Who wants to get knocked down? Not me. And I have been knocked down several times. The biggest challenges are what you do after being knocked down. What do you do when you've been knocked down? We see a lot of these kids out there protesting. Most of them don't have a clue why they're protesting. But they're out there protesting for some reason or another. They're protesting the death of somebody. They're saying, yay, that's good. And then some people are protesting because of ICE or whatever. They don't know why they're protesting that. They're getting paid for it. Give me a break. The goal should never be to make life harder for kids. The goal should be to prepare kids for the world that will eventually challenge them. However, the issue is many kids today feel entitled. And isn't that the truth? So let me ask you a question. Do you do your kids feel entitled? And I'm talking about a serious question. Be honest with yourself. When you sit back and you look at your kids, do they feel entitled? Do they walk around and feel entitled? If you answered yes to this question, then you may need to step back and see if you are enabling him or her. Because if you are, then you might be part of the problem. It's time to start being part of the solution. So the lesson on sports, how sports teach kids, and I'm not talking just about football, though that's where I'm coming from. It can be any sports. But I coach football, and this is one reason sports maintain or remain so valuable. The scoreboard doesn't care about excuses. The clock doesn't care about feelings. The opponent that you're facing isn't going to stop competing just because you're having a bad day. We've all woken up on the wrong side of the bed and just had a bad day, and it's going to be that way the entire day. It's just how you deal with it. Sports teach lessons that many classrooms simply cannot. They teach discipline. They teach teamwork. They teach sacrifice. They teach accountability. And a lot of your classrooms don't teach that. Most importantly, they teach young people how to handle both success and failure. Your classrooms don't teach you that. Most of your classrooms don't. Some of the most important moments in an athlete's life come after a tough loss. That's where growth happens. Michael Jordan missed over 9,000 shots in his career. He lost almost 300 games. And out of those games, he was asked or trusted 26 times to make the game-winning shot. He missed all 26 times. All 26 shots. But you know what he did? They kept trusting him, and he kept going. That's why he was successful. That's why he's a success now. You can't win everything. Don't expect to. But you can't win if you don't take the shot. Failure is not your enemy. Modern society often treats failure as something you avoid at all costs. But failure isn't the enemy. Failure is feedback. Failure makes us strong. Kids today don't feel like that. Kids like to be pampered. Kids don't like to fail or can't handle if they fail. They crawl into a shell, a lot of them nowadays. Every successful person has experienced setbacks. Business owners, military leaders, athletes, coaches, parents, they've all experienced failure. The difference isn't whether they failed. The difference is whether you learned from it. The difference is whether you get back up and you fight again. But here's something else I need to interject as well. Many of our political leaders will not admit that they have failed. They will not admit that they said something on the news and it turns around and bites them in the rear and that it made them fail. They will not admit that the game is over and that they'll try again next year. Watch on X and see how many times this happens. How many times what they say is wrong. You'll see this in protests as well across the nation. When young people understand that failure is part of growth, they become more willing to take risks, try new things, and push beyond their comfort zone. If our kids today are afraid to fail and afraid to push past their comfort zone, our country is doomed. Our country is going to be hurting. We need to push our kids. We just need to be the safety net for them as parents. And when our leaders don't admit that they've failed, then they're treating or doing our kids injustice. The danger of low expectations. One of the worst things that we can do for young people is to lower the bar, lower our expectations in the name of kindness. I'm not saying you have to sit there and be rude and mean to every one of them, but you don't need to be real kind to each one as well. Just give it to them straight. If they can't handle it, then they need to learn to. We need to be straight up with them. Young people are capable of far more than we often give them credit for. They can handle responsibility. They can overcome adversity. They can solve problems. They can achieve remarkable things when challenged appropriately. We need to be able to do that. We need to be able to challenge our young people, because guess what? We are about ready to give this next generation this world, this United Nations. We are about ready to give them this country. And if we don't give them the responsibility and teach them how to take over, then we are really going to be hurt. The message shouldn't be life will always be easy. The message should be you are capable of handling difficult things. Those are two different philosophies. The problem is we don't seem to teach that to our kids today. What kids need most, despite all the debates about education, technology, and culture, most young people still need the same basic things that they've always needed, that we needed when we were kids growing up. They need the love, the structure, the accountability, the encouragement, discipline, positive role models. If you look on most of the social platforms or the kids who have committed violent crimes, most of the time, those are the kids that have come from broken families. One or more of them, of the aforementioned items that I mentioned just a few minutes ago, are missing in the child's life. They don't have love, they don't have structure, or they may be missing accountability or encouragement or discipline. They may not even have a positive role model. They need adults who care enough to set standards, who are firm with them. They need coaches, teachers, parents, and mentors who believe in them. Not to sit there and give them necessarily the easy route, but to tell them the different options that they have and let them make the choices. We just need to be there as adults, to be there to help them out so that they don't hurt themselves. And they need opportunities to earn success rather than having it handed to them. Everybody needs to earn it. This is one of the biggest problems. Their parents are afraid of losing them. Parents need to not be afraid of losing them. You need to gain respect from your kids. Most parents nowadays are afraid of losing their child, or the kid doesn't respect their parents, because most parents, or many parents, are acting more like a friend than a parent. You need to be their parent before you are their friend, because this will help to prevent a lot of what you see going on in today's world. Kids don't respect adults nowadays. They could care less. They're getting beat up all over the place. So my final thought is this. The world our children are about to inherit will be different from the one we grew up in. Technology is changing, and it will change, and it will continue to change. Careers will change. Society will change. But human nature remains remarkably consistent. People still need resilience. People still need character. People still need courage. Perhaps the greatest gift that we can give our next generation isn't protecting them from every challenge. Perhaps it's helping them develop the confidence to face those challenges on their own. Because the strongest people aren't those who never struggle. They're the ones who learn how to keep moving forward when they do. We need to be there for our children, because we are not, because when we are not, they can't talk to us the way they do when they see things changing. Stop being the friend, be their parent. They will respect you for it. Believe me, believe it or not, they will respect you more when you lay down the law to them and you lay down the discipline to them. I have seen too much on TikTok and X and those other places, those other platforms, where parents are or the kids are disrespecting their parents. Lay the law down to them. So again, learn what you can, teach your kids respect, stop being their friend. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you heard and seen, then pass it along to your friends and family. Hit like and the subscribe button below. You'll have, and I hope you all have an outstanding day. See you on the next episode.